Welcome back, everybody. Automotive Inc. Today we're down at Chevy and I'm looking at the truck that I may replace Loki with. I'm kind of fed up with the electrical concerns and issues. GM's running a good finance rate, and after looking at the XLT, if you saw the 24 XLT video, heavy discounts on that, good APRs. But while I was doing that video, I happened to notice that it had light hail. The dealer was equally surprised that that was the case. So they can't get that fixed before the first of the month. And to be honest with you, this Chevy is only about $30 more a month. And let's check it out. So I came in and drove it yesterday. Couldn't film for liability concern issues. And the dealer rep rode with me. She's been great. So here's Loki. So trimmer package, you got a couple inches shorter. Now this one, if you notice the bazooka tailpipe, it is a diesel. Now, why would we go in diesel? Well, we've ran gassers the last 2 years, and I'm trying to make a strong point, punch it home, that most people don't need to buy a diesel. And case in point is the regens, the emissions concerns. Diesel here's about the same price as premium. So, you know, splitting hairs there when it comes to fuel, because I run premium in Loki. And my drivability is short drives and a lot of towing during the summer. But most of the winter, I don't tow at all. So really, if you're that kind of consumer where you use your truck a lot for moving heavy stuff, hauling a lot of highway miles, I think you're probably okay going with a diesel. And if you're towing once in a while, I think that can have issues. So going with a diesel potentially on this would help show if they either A, got it figured out to where you can use the diesels for that or not. Now, keeping in mind that this trim has a $9,600 ad for that diesel, you still get an Allison branded transmission in the gas, so you still get a really good transmission. You do get an exhaust brake, and there are some pluses and minuses to both of those. There were points where Kong had a little bit less juice going up one of the passes, still went up at 40, and that was the speed limit, no problem, but it wasn't pulling away from itself, it was all in. On the flip side of that, the 7.3 Godzilla just kept on going. I actually had to slow down, so the extra punch is nice in the 7.3 over the 6.6. Now, of course, when you have a diesel, more horsepower, double and a half, maybe sometimes the torque of a gas, so really there are some benefits to that. But is that $9,600 ad worth it? And will it work with your driving every day? That I don't know. So let's walk around this truck. Again, I was supposed to pick it up yesterday, but I came up and drove it, and it's lacking in a few areas. So we'll kind of address that. So versus the XLT I drove the other day, this is a 25. So going with the most recent version, that would be a huge plus. So this is the Z71. They call this an off-road tire. Not a fan of these. I've had these on a lot of Rams in the past. Just not a big fan. Had them on almost every GM truck except for Kong. That is the least aggressive all-terrain I've ever seen. But it is what it is. 18-inch rims. Now Chevy, if you would just change this wheel after all these years or offer it in black, I think you change the look of it completely. Multi-flex, which I love. Gotta have the bed stamps. Again, Chevy does have the biggest box, and it does have more tie-down points, and then you can pop out each one of those little plastic things and put in another tie-down point. So bigger box. It is bigger than the Ford by an inch. Class 5 rear parking assist. So this being an LT, so one of the watchers said I should get an LTZ to put it against kind of the Lariat. And this thing, on an LTZ, you don't get the heads up without buying a specific extra package. So this thing's basically an LTZ minus the cooled seats and perforated leather, but does have the big Chevy mirror, 360 camera. Let's squeeze through here. The Z71. Now, one thing I did notice, and you might be able to see it in the camera, is look here where this plastic goes to this one. So this specific color, this looks darker, this looks lighter. I actually like this Chevy grille a lot. Although the upgraded one with the LEDs is pretty sick looking, but I do like this one. And one benefit over these lights is we can change these bulbs out for less than 50 bucks. And Loki's headlights, if one of those goes out or a portion of it, that's a $2,000 headlight. By the time they install it, of course, the parts, chicken feet lamps, which as far as I'm concerned, if you're buying in HD, you gotta have those. Now this is where I did notice the paint really light here in the sun yesterday. So if I show it different angles, it's definitely darker. So it's a very cool color, but that is kind of crazy. No steps, but we can install those for cheap. And if we do go with this one, we'll do an LED video. Regular bulbs around, but I do like the look of the Chevy taillight, but I do like my Ford taillights also. Now this one, the MSRP I think was $74. Now they did leave it unlocked, so this is how I can show you. Lots of soft materials here, lots of soft here. Less door storage in the Ford, but it does give you a tall water bottle holder. Every single Chevy with this armrest in here, that sticks out. So if you're putting a human there, it's not comfortable, and I can't get it in. I try to shove it on each and every single one of them. Does not work. And you get underneath here, lacking in storage over the Ford. We'll go over that here in a little bit. So that's kind of a bummer there. But with the leather package, these seats are probably pleather. I don't think they're real leather, but that's okay because it looks like real leather, and it's actually softer than the cloth ones in the custom. You get the little storage doodad here, which I'm not sure what you can put in there, but the kids would probably put their stuffed animals in it. All right, come up front. Again, a lot less door storage than the Ford. So it's something I'd have to get used to. And we'll do some measurements. If I get this, I bought some little blocks that we're going to use and show you the storage. 10-way power seat. One thing I don't know, and I'll show you here a little bit on that, is everybody that seems to do this digital gauge cluster, they put the speedo on the left and the tach on the right, which is odd because analog gauges in the Ford keep it on the normal side. Heated steering wheel. It is a nice cabin for an LT. This is really nicely equipped. And again, tiny little cupboards here. You could probably put a lanyard with an ID in there, but way smaller than the Ford, and we'll do that. Less real estate here, and a smaller console inside here. Lots of storage in consideration to what it could have, but a lot less than the Ford. And you might be thinking, well, Jeremy, just downsize all your crap, and that is possible. Could definitely get rid of it, but having the extra room is always nice, especially long trips. Things start getting piled in everywhere. HomeLink, auto-dimming rear view mirror. So the fact that this is only $30 more than the Ford, this is a nicer truck. Played with the Google system, pretty decent. But it's a nice truck, and I do like that. Single speed transfer case. All the lights to light up around the outside, which is nice. Those are all LED. And I do like the mirrors with this light right here. I do like that because you have one facing forward and one facing backwards. So I do like that versus the Ford just has that. Now, let's just, for comparison's sake, open up Loki here, and you can see bigger door storage, plus we get a whole extra pocket, and this cupboard, which you can put stuff on top of the inverter as long as it doesn't keep it from staying cool. And then you might be thinking, well, yeah, but this is huge. Boy, if you want to stick stuff underneath the seat, well, this folds up and goes flat, so you have an option to get rid of it. And then you have the extra storage here. So I mean, 10 times the storage in this area than not, and this is lockable. So it's kind of hard to go from something with a lot of storage to less storage. You can see this armrest folds back. This is comfortable even for me, even with the headrest, because you can put it up. So that's a huge difference. You know, we get an extra cup holder there. And then you get in here and you can see lots more door storage here. And then this pocket is actually so big, a lanyard can sit sideways. So that's probably 3 inches wide. Got a great pair of socks in there and everything. And then when we come over here, you can see the wireless charger is a little bit more accessible. Plus you can kind of see your phone as it lights up. If it doesn't report to the system, they have theirs here. And then you have this for extra cup holders. And that one you get 2. And then you get a big square, which has always kind of been GM's mantra, which is fine. But this one you can put charging cords through this. Then you have a big, huge hole here. And then look at the size of this console versus the other one. So Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, a lot more storage in here. Now, again, I can downsize, and of course, we want to progress the channel. I wanted to see if we get Loki fixed. But I'm kind of, like I said, at that point where I just want to move on from the issues. If I don't trade, it's supposed to go in Thursday. So, hopefully they can work on addressing it one more time. But yeah, I mean, you get in there, I'm not sure why they can't switch the gauges around. But it is a nice riding truck. The 2025 Chevy is a nice riding truck. No real differences, period, from 24 or 23. It's the same truck. I do believe the refresh will come in 26, 27, but more than likely 27, and how drastic that'll be, I don't know. So we'll see what happens with this. I got to really sleep on it and think about it. Because even though this truck has a lot of problems, this truck ergonomically is just correct. And when you get in a truck, you're like, heck yeah, that's the one. This one I got in, I was like, yes, this is really nice, but I didn't feel like this is the one. I actually like that XLT Ford until I saw the hail, even though it had nothing in it. But because most of it's storage and drivability, the Chevy does have a tall hood. So like we've talked about before, you have to worry about that for shorter drivers. The Ford kind of slopes down. So those are some nuances that if you're going to go look at a Chevy or GMC, kind of take that into consideration. If you want a tall truck in ride height and in hood height, it may be a little bit overwhelming for them. Now, the Custom versus the LT, the dash is lower, so that helps a ton, giving you a little bit more visibility with that high hood versus the tall dash, the low sitting seat, and the high hood. There's no way my wife ever enjoyed driving Kong, but it's my truck. So, she says she can work with it, but at the end of the day, I do want her to feel comfortable in it. And I think this one she would feel way more confident in because the seat goes up, the dash is lower. So just a lot of little nuances. And again, when it comes to this interior storage and comfort, the Ford seats are way more comfortable than the Chevy seats in theory, in my opinion, only because they're squishier, softer. My wife agrees for sure. The Chevy itself has way harder seats, and then Ram's right in the middle. And I will say this, Ram does very good with their interior storage in the front area like Ford does. Their back seat, under seat storage is about what the Chevy gets, but you do get the in-floor coolers, and that's only when we're talking crew cab. We're not talking mega. That's a different animal. Because most of the buyers are crew cab buyers, not mega cab buyers. So, a lot goes into everything like that, but you guys can sound off. You guys want to see this because like I said, we'd have all the Chevy tech, other than the gas versus the diesel. We can start doing all those things and show you that really the same stuff we're going to buy and put on will be the same as 23, 24, but sound off on it. What you guys think? I personally would love to go with the Chevy, just because it's the new interior, not new, it was new in 21, but we can really go through that versus that. But at the end of the day, I think the bargain area is the Custom trim, but it's going to be the old interior. So this would give us an opportunity to kind of look at that and obviously pin it when they do change it, as to if you would want to grab the previous year or not. So as always, guys, appreciate you guys being here. Please smash that subscribe button, helps a small channel out. Hit the likes and notification bell so you know I'm posting new content, and I'm going to catch you on the next one.